Hey, welcome, guys. How you guys doing today, man?
What's happening?
Jamal, look, are you COVID free now?
I think so. Just waiting on the second test to come back, man. Hopefully it says negative. I hope so.
So you can have your lady friends back visiting again.
Stop. I hate you so much.
That's how you got in the first place.
That's how you got it in the first place.
I truly hate both of you. I just want to let you know.
Cousin, how was your week, brother?
Yeah, living the dream, I guess. Could have used more Hornets, but the little bit we got was sufficient enough.
It was enough. So are you guys feeding into the trolls this week, or you just letting it slide?
I always feed. I'm always responding to trolls. I've confronted myself, and I've just said I'm a guy who likes arguing with people on the internet, and I just can't control myself. And yes, Rodney, I have, yes.
All right, so we're gonna get started. The Hornets this past week were 1-1. 2 games were postponed due to COVID protocols. 4 Spurs players wound up tested positive around Monday or Tuesday. And so the Hornets were like, whoa, wait a second. So they had to kind of get everything in check. So we're going to talk about the game last night. Terry Rozier is a father dog. So what did you guys think about that game last night?
I just want to say Terry Rozier is living Teddy Bridgewater's dream right now. Okay, we'll get to that later. But
Kaza, put that smoke out behind you, bro.
Man, hey, we had beef with D'Angelo back in the day. We can beef with Teddy. It's not a big deal.
Look, you realize we had a back and forth with D'Angelo. On Twitter back in the day, about a year and a half ago. That was fun. But look, D'Angelo dishes it, and he could kind of take it a little better than Teddy can. But we'll say that for later.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
This is the second time this season the Hornets kind of got screwed by circumstance. It's weird to have such a huge win last night, and that win was bigger in a lot of ways than people realize. And fans are excited about the way we won, but still, I see too many. Well, the Hornets look terrible. Well, they didn't have Steph Curry or James Wiseman. Well, and it's like those are exactly the kinds of games the Hornets need to win. You got to win those ugly games. The Hornets had 5 complete days off, no practice. They're not in the gym. An NBA player will not be in NBA shape in 5 days, if you can believe it, especially no practice. The Warriors were on the second game of a back-to-back, and that might have had something to do with the outcome at the end. The Warriors' energy kind of dropped sharply in the fourth, but they didn't have any rust. The Hornets had 25 turnovers. Clearly, that's an indicator of rust. And I even on one of the Golden State Warriors forums, one of the commenters said, "Hey, I watch the Hornets all the time because of LaMelo Ball, and they're playing a lot worse than they normally would. If the Hornets were sharp, then we'd be losing this game." Talking about the Golden State Warriors. So ultimately, it's like I don't want to attach any negatives to this game. I mean, the turnovers, I don't expect them to have 25 turnovers against the Jazz or moving forward. It's just one of those. It was an ugly win, but those are the kind of wins you got to get. It was a huge win against potentially a Western Conference playoff team. It kept us in the lead for the division. It put us right around the 7th seed.
We are the 7th seed. As of today, we're the 7th seed. Yep.
Big win for the Hornets. And the way that it ended, it just, kind of, obviously made it more exciting.
Kaza, you kind of brought some sense to me a little bit, man, because the first thing I was going to say was we were probably let off the hook by Steph Curry not playing. But on second thought, I can't sit here and really comment on things that we don't have control over. We have no control over what happens with the Golden State Warriors. And the bottom line is the Charlotte Hornets are in no position to sit here and try to what's the word I'm looking for? Quantify wins. A win is a win.
Yeah.
The Charlotte Hornets need to take wins wherever they can get them, and we did enough to win the game because it was not pretty. Dale Curry said it best last night, man. If you're an NBA team, you commit 20-something turnovers and you win the game, you stole one. And I think I can't argue with that point. With that point, normally there's no team in the NBA that's going to commit that many turnovers and win the game normally, man. So I say in that regard, I don't want to say we got lucky, but we did just enough to win the game. And I'm not going to complain about how we win games. Just like you said, Kaza, you got to win the ugly ones too. I find it kind of, it sounds weird and kind of funny to say, but it's also kind of impressive that we won this game with LaMelo Ball not having the best game. You know what I mean? Speaking of LaMelo Ball and his fans, that I think last night's LaMelo Ball game was the perfect example of what most people have been trying to preach to LaMelo fans, is that you got to be patient and you got to bring him along slowly, because I'm not predicting we're seeing a rookie wall, but you're seeing an example of what can happen when LaMelo has when he has the keys full time. Mm-hmm. It's possible. You get what I'm saying? Now, if LaMelo lights it up on Tuesday and he scores 40 points against the Jazz, cool. We're good with that. But we just want to kind of tell fans of LaMelo's just to be patient, because those games are going to happen as well. And that's why you have to develop him. But enough about LaMelo Ball. Back to the Charlotte Hornets as a whole. It was a very gutsy win. What I did not like, though, there is one thing that kind of stood out to me that I did not like about last night. I said this to y'all in the chat room last night, man. There is no excuse for the Warriors to outwork and to out hustle us last night. And I kind of think for 3 quarters they did that. And that's what I can't offer any excuses to that when we've had so much time off, and that was the team that played the night before. Yeah. Outside of that, man, we buckled down in the 4th quarter. Terry Rozier just continues to just prove Bleacher Report and everybody else who had something to say in 2019 wrong, man. I can't say enough about that dude.
So I think, Jamal, I got a theory, man. Most of the media is the Northeastern base. A lot of them happen to be Boston fans, in my opinion. I think a lot of them were just kind of salty. Yeah, we got to upgrade, and Charlotte is just Mike's team, and they don't know what they're doing, and they won't admit when they were fully wrong. They will never admit it. I'm letting you know that now. Look, we can tag Bleacher Report all day. They will.
Which I plan on doing, because I'm never letting it go. I'm never gonna let it go. I'm just telling you now, never. And here's the thing, Rodney. It's not the fact that it's not the fact that Bleacher Report, Sports Illustrated, and everybody else were critical. They were unfair.
Yeah.
There's a line to cross. There's nothing wrong with criticizing a move, a signing, but when you are unfair, what seems to be the national thing with the Charlotte Hornets, there's one thing to be critical, but there's one thing to just pile on and be unfair. You really rank Terry Rozier's contract worse than Tyus Jones and Dwayne Dedman? Like, I'm just never going to let that go. I'm sorry, man. I mean, last night was just more proof in the pudding, and that was just outrageous. You know what I mean?
So, guys, I want to switch gears for a second. So, I was having a conversation last night with Danny, our friend Danny, and I want to know. I want to get you guys' opinion on this. He made an opinion. He made a statement that LaMelo fans need to realize at this point it's not his team. It's more Gordon Hayward's and Terry Rozier's team right now.
Right.
But we need to be prepared for the transition in the next couple of years. So how do you feel about that statement?
I was going to say, I don't see any indication that it's LaMelo's team. I don't know how someone can make that determination.
Look, man, the highlights video says it's his team.
But I think that LaMelo, I mean, it's hard to tell what NBA players think from body language or what they say, but LaMelo looks extremely happy to be a Charlotte Hornet.
Yeah.
The way he ran over, he was the first person to run over to Terry Rozier last night, and he picked him up, which kind of, I think it's funny because we always talk about, man, when LaMelo gets stronger, he lifted Terry Rozier off the ground and carried him about 20 feet. I was like, damn, this kind of strong. Now, Vince in the comments says that Malik Monk last week said it's Melo's team. I don't see that. I just don't see it because now I will say this in crunch time. Clearly, Borrego now has trust to put LaMelo on the court in crunch time. And
he doesn't have much of a choice right now.
Well, he didn't. But LaMelo actually made some really good hustle plays down the stretch to help us win that game. For instance, not fouling Wanamaker after the Wiggins miss. Instead, going for the ball and getting the jump ball. I think PJ was looking to foul because, I mean, at that point, the game is essentially over. LaMelo goes for the ball, gets the jump ball, wins the jump ball, and that ended up leading to the Wild ending. So the extra trust Borrego has in LaMelo, I think, is showing. But I still think Terry Rozier, the team goes as Rozier's attitude goes. I think his attitude is just starting to trickle down to the rest of the players. He's a dog. And when you got a guy like that on your team, it's very hard not for that attitude to permeate down to everyone else.
Yeah. I'll answer this from the fan base's perspective. I just think this fan base is so starved for a superstar. We're so starved for that next thing. We're just hungry to go back to those Alonzo Mourning, LJ days. And LaMelo obviously has the potential to be that guy, but we're a bit impatient. I think that's an understatement. We are very impatient when it comes to LaMelo Ball because fans want instant grits. You know, they don't want a full breakfast. They want instant grits to take 2 minutes, and voila, we have our superstar, and all of our problems are solved. And we now have this coveted star.
So they don't want to wash their grits first,
no, just out the box, just throw them in the microwave.
Ooh,
put some butter on it. But that's what fans want. They don't want the breakfast. But all jokes aside, man, like rookies and young guys have to be developed, and I just don't think fans want to hear that. You know what I mean? Like, this is a marathon. It is not a sprint. We're going to get more games like we got last night from LaMelo Ball. And I'm not saying that to pile on. I'm just saying it is what it is. This guy's 19 years old, man. And we just need to kind of chill out and just let the development take its course.
I think the extended time off this week probably affected LaMelo more than everyone else. It just did. People don't understand that, NBA players are a fine-tuned machine. Right. You throw anything in there that throws their rhythm off, and they've got to work to get it back. LaMelo got in early foul trouble. His shooting
3 fouls in 1 quarter.
Yeah, and his shooting, which was a knock on him coming into the league, I think is predicated around his ability to get into an offensive rhythm.
Right, absolutely.
You take a week off, you don't get to practice. And LaMelo's jump shot is something where he has to be in the gym practicing to keep that rhythm up. I do think so. Someone in the comments, Anthony Badillo, said that Melo's the glue guy. That I will agree with. I kind of think with Melo out there running the offense, also with Devontae Graham's recent comments about coming off the bench, I think the team has realized, okay, LaMelo kind of makes it
come together.
Yeah,
he's the biggest X factor. I think that's very clear to see. I've often said this about Devontae Graham. Before LaMelo got here, I've always said the Hornets kind of go as Devontae Graham goes, and now I'm kind of feeling the same way about LaMelo Ball. Yeah. It was a struggle last night because he struggled. I mean, it's not quite that simple, but it's a microcosm of what we've seen with our point guards in the past.
So I want to push back. So if you say we go as LaMelo goes, wouldn't that indicate that's his team, or like Explain that to me.
No, because it just goes back to what I also just said. He's an X factor. He's not the guy. It's not his team. He doesn't have the keys to the Lamborghini yet. Now, and I think Terry Rozier clearly showed him and Gordon Hayward. They have those keys now. Even though Hayward has been struggling lately, I don't think he's quite healthy for some reason. But we saw the former Boston Celtics, man. They are the guys that hold this team down ultimately, man.
They're the guys you can depend on in the clutch because Hayward's numbers, if you just looked at them, raw numbers would indicate he had an off night. But he shot 5 for 11. He just didn't take a lot of shots. The Hornets were not getting to the free throw line, which Gordon Hayward's game is predicated around getting to the free throw line, shooting a lot of free throws. And he was 3 for 4 from three-point range with 2 huge threes in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Right.
Add that with what Terry Rozier did, and it's kind of clear. Okay, when it's time to close the game out,
it's time to close the game. Those are the two you're going to.
Yeah, those are the guys you're going to, and I think even LaMelo knows that. Hey, where's Terry Rozier at? Where is Gordon Hayward at? And I think that's a great chemistry to have going forward. The build has been accelerated because of Gordon Hayward's decision to come out into free agency last season, and I worry about the mental health of Charlotte Hornets fans when we get swept out of the playoffs. The Hornets are going to make the playoffs this year. I think the season's half over. We're in the 7th seed. It would take a pretty major collapse for them to fall behind the teams that are currently behind us. It's still kind of close, but if you look at the standing, if you're not the 6th seed in which you get to play Boston, having to deal with either Philly, Brooklyn, or the Bucks, none of those are good matchups for Charlotte. None of them. So what's going to happen is the Hornets are going to make the playoffs for the first time in 4 seasons, and boy, is the LaMelo hype train going to be going full steam ahead, and we're going to get steamrolled, and the LaMelo fans are going to be jumping off the Bank of America Tower.
No. It's exactly right. Yeah, I don't think it's going to fall on Melo. It's going to fall on James Borrego. He's going to be the worst coach in the world when that happens. But I do want to speak to an excellent point you made, and I want to talk about we've had a lot of discussions as far as rebuild versus retool and exactly where this franchise is at. And I think 2 things sped that up. Not only signing Gordon Hayward obviously sped that up, but LaMelo Ball, and I don't know if we knew LaMelo Ball was going to be this good for us. That's a question we can argue about back and forth all day. But those 2 things have ultimately sped the rebuild process up, like you've mentioned. Yeah. But the great thing about this, and this is a great point Cousin made, the great thing about this is that transition. Gordon Hayward's not going to be here forever. You know what I mean? So once Gordon Hayward is getting older, LaMelo Ball is developing, and he starts ascending as a player, that bridge is so solid. You know what I mean? That is a great bridge to have for the Charlotte Hornets future. Now, people will say, "Oh man, we kind of killed the rebuild, blah blah." But I think we're in a great position, honestly, man.
Gotcha. So. Look, I have a scenario for you guys. Hear me out. Wouldn't it be dope to add a former 28-13 guy to the team?
Former.
He shoots threes. He's a champion. He's played in the finals before. The guy I'm talking about is Demarcus Cousins. So the day after he was guaranteed a contract, Houston kind of decided to go in a new direction, and so now Demarcus Cousins will be available pretty soon. So, how do you guys feel about the Hornets going after Demarcus? Is that a good idea, bad idea? Should we bring him in as Cody's backup? What do you guys think?
I am 41. I'll be 42 years old in 2 months, and I can get up and down the court faster than Demarcus Cousins. And I got bad news too. I would not be opposed to the Hornets kind of kicking the tires.
Yeah.
And then saying, okay, what's the dirt cheapest you going to play for us for?
Hey, man, look, a big man shooting 37% from the field That's at least $10 million, man.
I mean, if you want to come in for like, $3 million, bring him in, whenever we decide to go big, which Borrego really doesn't like to do. But there are times where you say, Hornets maybe could have gone big right there. Okay, that's what you bring Cousins in. The offense will slow down. Maybe he shoots a few threes, gets some rebounds, and he sits back down on the bench. Otherwise, I don't think this doesn't move the needle either way.
Yeah,
thank you.
And so,
I find it very ironic and I find it very interesting how Hornets fans are coveting a guy that Cody Zeller has ate his lunch the last 2 or 3 times they have faced each other, including a career high when Demarcus Cousins was playing for the Golden State Warriors. Mr. Cody Zeller had a career high against Demarcus Cousins and the Golden State Warriors. I find that very interesting. I'll say this, Kaza used to have this thing in the Hornets group where we would say something about a certain player and we would say a percentage. Like, you remember that, Kaza?
3%, yeah.
Right now with Bismack Biyombo, I'm at 5%. Like, I'm all but done with Bismack Biyombo personally. So is Demarcus Cousins an upgrade over Bismack Biyombo? Slightly, yeah. I mean, from a talent perspective, obviously. But it just doesn't move the needle. I'm in a place personally with the Hornets where I don't want the Hornets just to make moves just to make moves. Like, if you're going to make a move, go younger, clear cap space, or get significantly better. DeMarcus Cousins doesn't do any of that for the Hornets. It's just adding a body. It's adding depth. It's adding 6 more fouls. That's it.
I mean, look, man, he's the tough. He could be the toughness that we need. He could provide floor stretching. He likes to shoot the 3. He's had relative success in the NBA. Just like, other than that, like, do you think he's a good locker room presence for your young guys to teach them pointers of how to play that post game? I'm talking more like Carey and Richard.
I think that's a good point. But at the same time, man, at what cost? I just goes back to what Kaza said, man. The veteran minimum, you know what I mean? Explain to him, no, you're not going to be the starting center for this team. We don't look at you as DeMarcus Cousins from 2012. You know what I'm saying? So if it's just adding a body for cheap, man, I mean, cool, but don't just go out of your way and get a guy $14 million just to do that.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we remember how the fan base this past offseason flipped out because Gordon Hayward has an injury history. How are they going to feel about DeMarcus Cousins?
Seriously.
I mean, super, super injury history. He can barely move now due to his injury history. So I don't think Mitch is swayed by this. I do not think that Mitch Kupchak saw DeMarcus Cousins being released and thought, oh, snap, we need to get him. Right. I think he was just like, whatever, put his phone down.
So guys, listen. Since you guys are idiots and don't want DeMarcus, how would you feel about Blake freaking Griffin? He could be LaMelo's sidekick, box office, shooting 34% from the field. This guy is a must-have. How do you feel about him in Charlotte?
Same way. It doesn't move the needle, but kick the tires if he's cheap enough. So I don't think.
Hey man, look, I got a fun fact. Blake Griffin has not dunked in the NBA game since 2019.
It's very telling considering, what his game, what he's known for in the league is being, super athletic and attacking the rim, and obviously he can't do that anymore. So if he can't do that, then you have to think, well, then what else could he possibly bring to the team? The biggest issue with Blake Griffin versus DeMarcus Cousins is released. Yeah. Once he clears waivers, any team can pick him up for any amount. Blake Griffin would have to be traded, which he's got a monster contract, and we'd have to give up something to get Blake Griffin in his monstrous contract.
So there has been like talks that they may buy him out with a big buyout, but I don't see that happening with 2 years, a year with that much left on the deal.
Yeah. I just did a Google search, and what I just Googled was, what is the farthest point from Charlotte, North Carolina? It is Perth, Australia. That is how far I want Blake Griffin away from Charlotte, North Carolina. I want nothing to do with Blake Griffin in Charlotte, North Carolina. Blake Griffin, at this point in his career, first of all, his contract is an albatross. I don't even know how we would even. It is even worse than Nick Batum's, if you can believe that or not. So, number one, I don't even know how we match the contracts on the trade. That would have to be a buyout situation, number one. But most importantly, just from what let me back up a little bit. Rodney, I don't know if it was you or Vince that, we were attending the game when we played Detroit and we beat them for like the 12th straight time or whatever.
Yeah.
And I told one of y'all, I said, this is when Andre Drummond was playing with Blake Griffin. And I told one of y'all, I said, these two are not going to play together very long. I remember saying that. Mm-hmm. The reason I said that is because Blake Griffin, if you were to look up black hole in the dictionary, Blake Griffin's face would be on the black hole. I'm gonna push back. The year 2018 in Detroit, this man averaged like 25, 6 and 7, like 6 and 7 assists. He evolved as a player. He can pass the ball. Drummond is the black hole. Listen, I understand all that, but just to give you an example of what I don't like about Blake Griffin, that same game that I'm talking about, the Detroit struggling to beat us. Blake Griffin got all of his touches in the post, and every time he touched the ball in the post, he either got a layup or a free throw. But guess what he chose to do? He chose to shoot 4 3-pointers in the fourth quarter, and he missed all of them. If I'm a coach, I don't have any hair, but I would pull my hair out if I had a player like that on my team. I don't want Blake Griffin anywhere near this team, especially at this point of his career, and especially being that we have other young guys on his career. It just screams development killer for the rest of this roster. I want no part of Blake Griffin, man.
Gotcha. I don't think the Hornets should entertain any moves until the offseason.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you on that.
Just let the season play out how it made it. They made, a big free agency splash, and then they drafted, probably the rookie of the year. Ride that for a little bit.
Ride it to next year.
Yep.
And, just going back to what I said, man, if there was an opportunity that presents itself to where it just clearly makes the Hornets better. When I say clearly, Ms. Kupchak has said in the past, he's not interested in making moves that make us 3 or 4 games better. He wants to add a player that wins us 15 to 18 more games. And that's where I'm at.
John Collins.
If that opportunity presents itself, you got to go for it.
Gotcha. So, guys, the Carolina Panthers had themselves an interesting week.
That's an understatement.
So KK Short was cut, and the Panthers wound up saving themselves about $8.6 million against the cap. Trey Boston, Mike Pilardi, and Stephen Weatherly were cut. All about adding up to about $11.5 million in savings. So the Panthers have almost $30 million in cap space. What do you think we use this for? Are we going? What's the guy's name? He used to say we're going bargain basement shopping. We're not shopping at Tiffany's. So are we shopping at Tiffany's now, or we're prepping for a trade in the future of a certain quarterback from Houston, Texas? What do you guys think of these moves?
I hate to disappoint the Carolina's fan base. I don't think any of those moves have anything to do with Deshaun Watson. I really don't. I think it has more so to do with trying to fix our dire cap situation. What did I say a couple of weeks ago? If you're an NFL team, you can't be bad and not have money. If you're not going to have cap space, you need to be contending. If you're going to be bad, you need to have cap space. I just think it's a move to fix our own cap situation and more specifically Taylor Moton and Curtis Samuel are up, I think it's more so to do it's a move to make sure we re-sign both of those guys first, because I've stood on this hill forever. I think it's important to sign both of those guys. You know what I mean? So and look, Jay's saying, look, we're using it to sign another sorry left tackle, but Taylor Moton was solid. I mean, he's what we got, and I think it's that important to bring him back. I think those moves are more so for that. If you're talking about Deshaun Watson, you're talking about a totally different scenario where we're talking about trading and matching salaries anyway. I don't think any of these moves are related to Deshaun Watson at all.
Yeah. Last year, the Panthers hired Samir Suleiman to be their capologist. These moves, I think, come on his advice to get the cap to a point where we have options. That doesn't mean we're going to use that doesn't mean we're going to do anything. But if you don't have any options, you cannot do anything. You're kind of hamstrung. That's all these moves are. The Panthers are not going to miss Trey Boston or Michael Pilardi or KK Short because he hadn't even filled.
Cousin, let me say this. Let me interrupt you real quick, man. The Trey Boston move was a bit surprising. Now, I'm not like I'm not like some super fan of Trey Boston or whatever, but just looking at what we have, I want to make sure I'm very clear on that. Looking at what we have on this roster, Trey Boston was pretty important relative to what we have. Let me make that very clear. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, it does seem like the cupboard is now completely bare with him gone.
That's what I'm getting at.
Tepper has stated, and this was one of the reasons why Hurney was let go, was that they're looking for a more analytics-driven approach to scouting talent. And if you look at Trey Boston, I think they feel like, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think they feel like he can be easily replicated either through free agency or what Trey Boston brought from a pure number standpoint. I think the Panthers feel like we can replicate that for cheaper than what we were paying Trey Boston to essentially be a veteran presence. Now, I think analytics doesn't work in the NFL. There are too many positions, and you cannot discount the impact that a veteran like Trey Boston can have on young teammates. We're going to have a super young secondary. However we start to structure this defense. You're going to have a super young secondary. They're going to need someone back there to kind of lead them. And with Trey Boston gone, they won't have that. But I think that this is that move in particular was probably an analytics decision.
Gotcha. So I got a question, guys. Is Teddy Bridgewater copying Kevin Durant at this point? Look. You guys may not know what I'm talking about. He's not as great as Kevin Durant is, but Teddy's been accused of having a burner account on Twitter and engaging with some of his dissenters, man. And it's also been reported that Teddy has unfollowed the Panthers. Like, what do you guys think of Teddy, man? Like, it's like at this point it's snowballing out of control. Like, how do you guys feel about this, man? It's actually kind of sad, in my opinion.
Let me say this, man. I wish I want fans to forgive me because I don't have the reporter's name who was going to break the story about Teddy Bridgewater and his burner account. But I will say this: if you work for a professional publication, okay, you are obligated to verify and make sure you have accuracy when it comes to whatever story you're going to break. This guy, whatever his name was, forgive me for forgetting his name, but it looks like he had everything he needed to break a story on Teddy Bridgewater having a burner account. It looks like everything was lined up. Now, as far as Teddy Bridgewater unfollowing the Panthers, I don't blame him, but at the same time, it's just another cog in this whole saga. At this point, man, they both need to break up. And what's interesting about this, with all this being said, we actually may get to the regular season and Teddy Bridgewater may still be our starting quarterback, just for lack of options. You get what I'm saying? But it just seems
Jamal, that's like staying for the kids in my
it's exactly what it is. It's exactly you are in a miserable marriage. Right. It's like you're in a miserable marriage that you just can't break out of, but you're staying for the kids, man. And that may be a reality come this season. But, all signs point to an inevitable breakup, man. And I think it's just kind of needed for both parties at this point.
Yeah, this can't be fixed. In the NFL, these situations no one ever makes up and apologizes and hugs it out. It's just not going to happen. And even before all this, we saw how Bridgewater's relationship with the coaching staff began to deteriorate towards the end of the season. You start adding this in, the Deshaun Watson rumors. It's just not a good situation. And the Panthers would be smart to take care of it as soon as possible.
Absolutely. I agree.
Franchises let that linger, and it bleeds over into the season, and it permeates down to the locker room.
And that's when it's just unfixable at that point.
Yeah, it's just
I got a question. Do you think it was kind of disrespectful of the Panthers? And I'll be honest with you, I think some people in the organization push certain news out there. Do you think it was disrespectful for them to publicly be going after Matt Stafford, having their name in the Deshaun Watson conversation, and just openly looking at other quarterbacks, like the quarterback coming in the draft from Alabama? If we draft him, I'm going to pass out. But they've been linked to so many other quarterbacks publicly. Do you think Teddy's just feeling disrespected at this point? I mean, look, Teddy is 24, 25, whatever. This young generation, they're a little sensitive. So, do you think that the Panthers have some of the onus on them to kind of heal this relationship?
If I was Teddy or any quarterback, I feel kind of disrespected. Teddy feels like he did everything that he could as a quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, given the situation. He doesn't feel like everything was completely his fault. He acknowledges the mistakes that he's made. But the way the Panthers have been in the media talking about aggressively going after another quarterback, that's going to sting a little bit. Mm-hmm. At the same time, it's a business.
Yeah.
If you were a better quarterback, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. And one of the narratives that I'm seeing that is really burning me up, considering the arc of the Carolina Panthers over the last decade, D'Angelo Williams got into some Twitter beef recently with, and he was essentially saying that the O-line was the issue, and that's what a lot of fans think. Hey, if you fix the O-line, everything will be okay.
It's one of the issues.
It's one of the issues, and it can't be the issue. And I don't want to hear O-line, considering what Cam Newton had to put up with his 8-9 years here, where he had maybe a good O-line for 1 year.
Yeah.
Look at what Andrew Luck was able to do with the Indianapolis Colts. They consistently had the worst O-line in football besides Carolina. He took almost as many hits as Cam Newton did. Look at what Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl with PFF, the worst O-line in football. Now, granted, they had a historic defense, but that's kind of my point. Good quarterbacks can do just fine with poor O-lines if the rest of the team is built accordingly. And our O-line wasn't as bad statistically anyway as everyone likes to think. The O-line did not make Teddy Bridgewater try and put the ball over the goal line against Green Bay and get it slapped out after the coach told you not to do that. The O-line didn't do that. The O-line didn't throw a 2-yard slant route when it's 4th and 12, to continue the game. O-line didn't do that. So I don't want to hear this narrative. If Teddy was better, he would be. And if he ends up being our quarterback next season, then the pressure is on him again. He's got to ball out. He would have no one to blame for that besides himself. So
it is. I find it very interesting how, in this regard, in particular, how the Hornets and the Panthers do business so differently when it comes to this stuff. And what I mean is the pursuing of trades publicly. Yeah. The Hornets historically, when they have pursued trades, you don't hear about it until it happens. you notice that. You notice, and we haven't made a trade in a while, but you notice that when we have, it kind of comes out the blue. There's no rumors circling around on the internet. And I say this to say, the Panthers, I think with the changing of the guard, so to speak, they're looking at this like this is strictly business. Yeah. F your feelings in so many words. And to your point, Rodney, Teddy Bridgewater, a little younger generation. I mean, to be fair, I totally understand why he would be hurt. I understand why he would feel a bit disrespected. And to add another layer to that, we don't know what the discussions were behind closed doors before we heard these rumors. This may be a situation where Teddy Bridgewater is hearing about all these trade rumors out the blue before the Carolina Panthers even sat down and had a discussion with him. Now, if that's the case, I don't blame him for feeling disrespected and what have you. But at the same time, this is the way the Panthers are operating now. It is a business. You're on board or you're not. And it's that simple, man.
Tepper has made it clear, winning above all else.
Yeah, right.
He does not care about your feelings. You know, if you are out there producing and helping the Panthers win games, then you will be a valuable.
You're safe. Yeah.
And look, man, and it's so different from the old guard. We had Marty Herney, who was a very old school GM. You know what I'm saying? Listen. Let's be fair about this. There were a lot of Panthers players that were coddled, that were downright coddled and overpaid and had a longer leash under the old regime. And it seems to be completely different now, man.
But what to play devil's advocate here, because so we saw how they handled the Cam Newton situation. You know, now we're seeing how they're handling the Teddy Bridgewater situation. I understand the context of those two situations is different, but if you are a player, do you want to go through a team like Carolina that treats its players like that?
Here's the thing, man.
That's a hard one, man. Like Cam is polarizing with a lot of the actual media in the NFL, but other players seem to like Cam, and I think Cam word goes longer than we actually think. So if Cam was actually if Cam actually told people that he was done wrong by the organization, he has some cachet to sway some decisions, in my opinion. I could be wrong, and I'm open to it.
I just think it's a tough question to answer, but I also feel like the rest of the NFL is going that way. You know what I mean? It's a copycat league in every single way. I think every single organization has looked at the New England Patriots, the way that they've done business over the last 10 and 15 years, and say, we need to replicate that. I think the Panthers are no different. So I just think that the rest of the league is going that way, where we're just like, you know what? We don't care about your feelings. It's a business. It is what it is.
Gotcha. So, guys, a little birdie told me that Deshaun Watson was on I-85 in North Carolina. So, how do you guys feel about that?
Won a Super Bowl.
Was Tepper?
Okay, so all right, so let's break it down objectively. He's got ties to the area. Granted, they're mostly in South Carolina, but he has ties to the area. A massive winter storm just came through Texas, so he's probably saying, "Okay, I need to get out of Texas."
Look, man, he's probably been out of Texas. He don't even look. He has do not answer for any Texas personnel on his phone right now.
If he was spotted in South Carolina, okay, I
wouldn't worry too much.
Yeah,
but North Carolina, man.
But you in
Annapolis at that?
Yeah, you in the Charlotte metro area, stopping to get gas, and it was clearly him. The pictures that we saw, his Ferrari 488 with the Texas tags on it.
That was a badass Ferrari, bro.
Yes, man. I don't know. I'm wondering what he's. I don't know.
Hey, look, man. Look.
Look. Papa Tepper in that ear. I got some deals for you.
Look, we can't make too much out of a picture because we don't have
Vince out of the chat.
Yeah, Vince, you're out of pocket right now.
Oh, hell no, Vince. Hell no. Absolutely not.
Out of pocket.
For people who are going to listen to this on the podcast, Vince has suggested that the Falcons are going to get Deshaun Watson and we're going to trade for Matt Ryan. I will be on the bridge of Beatties Ford Road overlooking it, looking to jump if that happens. That cannot happen. Sorry. Can't happen.
If that happens, I will chain myself to the Charlotte Pipe and Foundry land so that they cannot build a new stadium. You will not build a new stadium with Matt Ryan.
Do it. Nope. Can't do it. Cannot do it, man. Can't do it, man. But we don't have a lot of information other than the pictures we saw, man. But you can't help but to get excited. Like Deshaun Watson's in Kannapolis. What the hell is he doing in Kannapolis? We can only speculate. But our speculations are going to lead to hoping he have a conversation with the Panthers brass. Let's hope so, man.
Hey man, look. An important part of any trade that happens with Deshaun Watson, he has veto power. Always remember that. He has the power to veto any trade. And if you saw the pictures, haters would say it's Photoshop. I just leave it like that.
Pretty much.
So, guys, in Charlotte, we have this little place called Tent City. And recently...
we had a place called Tent City.
We had a place called Tent City. Look, the tent is still out there. The people aren't. Recently, there was a rat infestation there. And the people, roughly around 200 people were given a package from the county. So they got 90 days in the hotel plus 3 square meals a day for 90 days. A lot of people are kind of skeptical on this rat infestation. I can see how it would happen. But what's your guys' feeling on this situation?
Let me go first, man. I actually drove by the area this morning. I actually drove by Tent City this morning. As of this morning, there are literally like 3 or 4 tents out there, but I didn't see any people out there. I didn't see any people outside of maybe construction workers or cleanup crews or law enforcement, what have you. My first feeling when it comes to this whole Tent City fiasco is that ultimately the city doesn't give a damn. Now, to be fair, to be objective, it's cool that they threw these people a bone to offer them lodging and food for 90 days. I don't know if I've seen a situation like that with any other city in the same situation. So we got to be fair about that. But here's my feeling. Here's just something, and this is speculation. I don't have any information on this. I just don't know how I'm going to feel in the next 6 months if we drive by that same area and there's a damn brewery there or some more condos or another business that's not going to really add anything, culture wise to the city. I just don't know how I'm going to feel when that happens in the next 6 months. You know what I mean? And it just kind of screams, like, hey, we care more about the optics of the city more than we care about the actual people of the city. And it's just kind of a microcosm of why so many people in the city are so angered with local politics, with local politicians in the city. God bless those people for, the 3 months that they have and hopefully they can make something happen, after that, these 90 days are up. But I'm just very skeptical of what the city has planned for that particular era going forward, man.
Gotcha. Look, man, I was having a conversation with my wife, man, and we just came to the conclusion that Charlotte is a city that's consumed with its reputation.
Absolutely.
And if this homeless camp was off of Brookshire Boulevard, Eastway Drive, or Sugar Creek, they wouldn't even give a damn, to be honest with you. But you put the homeless situation in Charlotte in the forefront, in front of your precious uptown. You had to do something about it, and so this was a way to get everything going. And so, I mean, I just got conspiracies about it. It's really convenient that a rat infestation happened.
Yes.
I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. Cousin?
I'm with you there. I'm like, a rat infestation. Also, there were concerns about open air burning. When has Charlotte ever gave a crap about air pollution?
Seriously.
Get out of here. Yeah, like Jamal said, a year from now, those tents are going to be gone. There's going to be Chad Bros Brewery and barbecue there, and everyone's gonna like forget this ever happened. That's just the way that our city has become. And to be fair, it is that's just one of the problems of becoming a major metropolitan city in America. Los Angeles never fixed that problem. Skid Row is 50 blocks of downtown LA.
Yep.
Listen, never going to go anywhere.
And listen, coming from somebody who's visited LA and who's visited Skid Row, there are literally parks full of homeless people in Literally, imagine Hornets Nest Park with homeless people. That's Los Angeles. I don't know if they will ever get a handle on that problem. But go ahead.
No, I don't think they will. I think Charlotte will raise the earth before they let it get that bad, but they'll handle it in a completely irresponsible manner as far as I'm concerned. So enjoy your crappy IPAs.
Some dog park or
It'll be a dog park brewery.
Dog park brewery. Actually, there you go.
And it's going to be next door to a candle wax facility where you can make candles. and then next door you're going to have a sandwich shop where you can have potato salad with raisins in it.
See, there you go.
And it's going to be like $20 for
a little sandwich that big. Yeah. Yo, look, man, off topic, man. Like, yesterday was like one of the first times I actually drove around the city in months just to kind of hang out. I was just like, first of all, I was shocked at how many people were out. And I was just shocked to see how far freaking gentrification has come within the past year in the pandemic. Like, we went to where the new Shake Shack is, where Pikes used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, that area, oh my gosh, that area has like, people don't remember the old South End from like 15, 20 years ago. Like, you don't want to be caught down there.
You don't want to know. Remount Road, don't go there. Don't go to Remount Road.
Please.
And it's just like, we walked around for a little bit, and it's just like, it's just unrecognizable at this point, man. It's crazy. It's completely crazy.
But it goes back to this age-old discussion we've had about Charlotte for the last 20 years, man. It's just like, what are you taking out versus what are you putting in? You're taking out all of the soul and all of the culture of Charlotte, and you're adding, things that may look better on the surface, but you're not really adding anything of substance. You're taking out the soul, you're taking out the culture. And that's the disappointing part, because you're not replacing it with anything. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just whatever I don't know. I guess it depends on what you're looking for out of a city. If you don't care about culture and you don't care about, character or anything like that, Charlotte's a great place for you. If you do, then you're going to struggle to probably enjoy it here. So,
I mean, like one word that sticks out about Charlotte to me is sterile. Like, a lot of things that has been put up recently are just kind of sterilized and
plain vanilla.
Plain vanilla, yeah.
Charlotte is a corporate city.
Yeah.
So our current culture is corporate culture, sterile, cookie cutter, vanilla. Unfortunately, it's going to continue to be that way, because the money that comes into Charlotte comes from transplants coming into our city. Charlotte's money is tied up into, for instance, developers. They don't care about what the person in Dilworth thinks. or the person in Myers Park. They don't care. They don't care about that. Those people hold on to their money, and they're going to be in those areas forever until they turn to dust. So what they're looking at, okay, what about the young, slick urbanite who wants to come? They want the amenities of a big city without the inconveniences of a massively big city like New York or Chicago or LA. Charlotte is perfect for that, and that's why you have all these people coming in. So now corporations say, okay, that's free money. How can we accommodate those people without realizing that those people are almost like transients? Those people are going to come here, they're going to make some money, and they're going to go somewhere else.
They're going to go somewhere else, right?
And then we're going to have these, these testaments to corporate America all over the city, just to appease those people. It's an unfortunate thing for Charlotte.
Yeah. It's the cost of growth and the cost of change, I guess.
You can still get murdered on Freedom Drive.
Pretty easily. You can
still get killed at a cookout on Freedom Drive.
Yeah, don't get it twisted.
After you leave the dog park, let's walk over to the cookout. Don't do that.
Look, man.
This is interesting street called Green.
Hey, guys. Hey, no, Noda is not fully gentrified. You can still get got. Do not turn the wrong corner.
All right, guys. So I want to jump into shout outs and shout outs. So I want to go first. I want to give a shout out to Steve Kerr. The way you kicked that damn ball, man, that was
went full force and punted it.
Impeccable for him. Like you could have played soccer. And I love seeing your cool ass upset. It is so dope. and then I got a shot at for Jerry Jones. Nothing. Look, I want to work for the NFL. I'm be quiet. It's disgusting that you raise natural gas prices in Texas.
Jackpot.
In the midst of rolling power outages and shoddy infrastructures led by the Republican-led whatever you are in Texas. My family in Houston, it was like 15 degrees outside. They had no power for 3 days, 2 or 3 days. They luckily found a generator that they could use, but everything's back to normal now. But I mean, people lost their lives, and it's disgusting, man.
Yeah, I think the government has blood in their hands too. You essentially allow people like Jerry Jones to do things like that. That should be regulated.
Yeah, and what's funny about this, like Texas thinks they can govern themselves outside of major government. Like they don't, they don't want the government's help in anything. We're Texas. Hey, we don't mess with Texas. Everything's bigger and better than Texas. And look how they're handling this.
Hey, I remember when California had like outages, and the people from Texas were talking trash about California. You guys can't govern it. Look, shoes another foot.
Funny how things work out, right?
And finally, man, follow me on Clubhouse, man. Rodrich, Rodrich, and Jamal. Please get an iPhone because you're poor. All right. Who else has shout outs?
I'll give a quick shout out to the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
We often forget about our brothers from Raleigh. Because hockey's not a huge thing here, but they are having a stellar season so far. They lead the Central Division. 12
big win last night, man.
What's that?
Big win last night.
Huge win last night. They had a great comeback win a few nights ago. Very exciting team. So if you are not a hockey fan, try and find some time to catch a Hurricanes game to see what all the fuss is about. Quick shout at somebody mentioned this in the comics, but Charlotte Football Club.
Oh, man, you stole my shout out.
Okay, I'll let you. Yeah, the PSL situation is kind of weird. Go ahead, take it from there, Jamal.
I have two shout ats. Number one, my first shout at goes to Hartford, Connecticut fans of the former Hartford Whalers. I am from Hartford, Connecticut, for those who don't know. I was born in Hartford, Connecticut.
I'm sorry.
The people, I am too. Hartford sucks. The people of Hartford, Connecticut, how dare y'all get mad at people from Raleigh for trying to embrace the former culture of the Hartford Whale. How dare you get upset at this? Hartford, Connecticut is the main reason for the abject failure of your team not being in Hartford, Connecticut. It is not Raleigh's fault at all. It is not North Carolina's fault. If you're going to be mad at the government of Connecticut. Be mad at the local government of Hartford. Do not be upset at these fans who want to embrace the entire culture from where the Carolina Hurricanes come from. Shut up. You look stupid being mad. My second shout out goes to the Charlotte Football Club. Charlotte Football Club, if y'all have learned nothing from the Bob Johnson Charlotte Bobcats, if you have learned nothing from that whole situation, if you're going to charge that much money for people to come see you, you at least better be showing your face in this community. I don't know if y'all...
I haven't seen a damn thing.
I haven't seen a damn thing from Charlotte FC as far as anything community-based in Charlotte. Okay, if you're going to charge that much money, you better be at Walmart paying people's layaways off. You better be contributing to this tent city situation in some capacity. You better be doing something in the community to make yourselves visible. To be fair, I know COVID-19 has put a hamstring on that kind of stuff, but I have not even seen an attempt. So. Charlotte FC, fix it, man. If y'all are looking for this get-rich-quick scheme, for lack of a better term, then you damn sure better make sure you at least look like you give a damn about the citizens of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Facts. Jamal, I got a question for you regarding that one. Do you think they're more focused on their clientele base in Weddington, Huntersville, Davidson, more so than West Boulevard, Eastway, Albemarle Road? Do you think that is the case?
I can't answer that because honestly, I have seen nothing as far as from a marketing standpoint. Before you go, Kaza, let me just tell you my personal observation. My personal observation from Charlotte FC is seeing some overpriced T-shirt for sale, seeing some overpriced jersey online, seeing some overpriced tickets. That's all I have seen from Charlotte FC. So that's a tough question to answer.
Yeah, Tepper is not from here, so he has to put people in his employ to tell him what the demographics are around here and what the market looks like around here. And whoever he hired got it wrong. Like you said, they need to be focusing on the people in the inner city. And one of the reasons that Atlanta's soccer franchise was so relatively successful so quickly as far as financially was because the prices were low. Yeah, a lot of people from Atlanta was like, hey, I was not a soccer fan, but it was great to be able to take my whole family to a game. We could eat, drink, have a good time for under $100. It's almost like they just completely ignored that. And to be the most expensive ticket in Major League Soccer, more than cities like LA, that's just
Seattle. And you haven't played a match yet? Really?
Yeah,
they're off to a horrible start. Yeah. They're off to a very bad start.
PSLs are a way for the owner to get over on the fans. I've never been a huge fan of PSLs because then that kind of leaves the fans holding the bag when it comes to the stadium. Like, they're going to tear down Bank of America Stadium, and if you bought a PSL,
you out of luck.
You out of luck. Too bad. You don't get your money back.
Yep.
So guys, I want to talk about this. I really do want to talk about this. I applied for a job to work with the Charlotte FC because I knew this was going to happen. They don't hire anybody from the community. The Panthers too to me, but NFL is king, so they can get away with it. They don't hire anybody from the community, and they bring in these people that are transplants from bigger cities and other places that don't have the temperature of what's going on here. You hire somebody like Jamal. Look, Jamal out there networking. Jamal's putting strategic Facebook posts. Kaz is doing the same thing. It's just frustrating to me at this point, man.
Again, it's it just adds to the bad start they're off to, man. And it's just it just seems like they're just, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, man. I don't even, just out of touch. That's what I'm looking for. It just seems like they're just off to this start where they're just going to be completely out of touch with the community. And again, man, it's funny to me how we're going to go through this thing we went through with Bob Johnson's Bobcats. It reeks of the same thing, man.
Look, we could talk about this all day. But
maybe we will next week, man.
We got to close.
Well, yeah, I'm interested to see the response from Charlotte Football Club. What are they going to do? Because the fans are already saying, no, we're not going to buy PSLs and we're not going to pay $2,000 for a season ticket to an expansion Major League Soccer team. Then what's the response going to be? You can't have hubris and say, well, someone will pay it. That's not going to work out.
Nope.
And then they're doing all this during the damn pandemic. Let's not forget about that point, man. But whatever. Yeah.
All right, guys. Look, man, thank you guys for watching. You guys in the comment section, you guys who are watching, are our biggest marketing team, and we need you to promote. If you got something that you're doing as well, we'll promote for you. Look, we can all win. We can all share.
No doubt.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
I love you, Draymond Green.
Draymond Green. Shout out to Draymond Green.
Look,
MVP last night. MVP. Thank you, sir.
All right, guys.
Peace out, y'all.
Much love.